Hey, everybody, and welcome to another Tech Talk Tuesday. It's a special Hawaii 5-0 edition.
That's right.
Because I'm wearing this shirt, I don't know. I thought it'd be fun. I just want to feel a little festive. It's Tuesday, and it sucks otherwise. No. Welcome. You've made it to the 13th, and hopefully that's actually a lucky number for you as we continue our way through the good old pandemic. Hope you got your shot, but I hope it wasn't the Johnson & Johnson one. Too soon? All right. Let's go ahead and loop in. Neil, how are you doing today, buddy?
Well, I was just going to let you keep rolling, man. You were feeling it there.
Oh, I know. I did not get the J&J, so I feel like I'm going to be okay. I don't know. I'm worried about that, man.
It's like 1 in a million, though.
It is.
And if you look at other medicines, like it's...
Yeah. If you get it, you should also play the lottery. Like it's just basically...
Yeah, that's basically what you're doing. No, but I'm good today. Sun's out, and it's been rainy recently, so I'm happy to see the sun, and feels like it might stay warm now. So yeah, I'm enjoying life right now.
Nice. Well, good to hear it. Well, it looks like we've got a couple of court cases that have come through, kind of big stuff, and some science news. So let's jump right into it.
Yeah. So we're gonna kick it off to Aaron to talk about Section 230.
Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas recently argued that Twitter and similar companies could face some First Amendment restrictions, even though they are not government agencies. This view greatly contrasts the standard view that the First Amendment's free speech clause does not prohibit private companies from restricting speech on their platforms, a view protected by a law called Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act. Thomas criticized the Section 230 legal protections given to online platforms and argued that free speech law shouldn't necessarily prevent lawmakers from regulating those platforms as common carriers. He wrote that regulation restricting a digital platform's right to exclude content might not appreciably impede that platform from speaking. What do you nerds think?
You know, every time he calls us a nerd, I get so excited because it's true.
Yes, me too.
Section 230, man. This is interesting. This has been like a hotly debated thing, and I don't know, man. I don't know. I wasn't really excited about this.
Yeah. So just to level set with everyone, this does not mean that like Section 230 is like null and void or anything.
Right. There's no repealing.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is literally just a justice saying like, hey, I would not vote against it. Vote against rolling it back, I guess is the best way of putting that. So yeah, so this is more of saying like, hey, I don't necessarily agree with this, him saying that, not the Supreme Court or anything like that, just him. So yeah, this is interesting. It's really, really important because if this does come up in legislation, like it's going to be very hard fought on both sides. So yeah, I definitely fall into that. They're private companies; they can do what they want. That's just my personal opinion, obviously. But yeah, so clearly others think differently and don't want to be censored in some way. But you're on a private platform that they own, so they can kind of do what they want, in my opinion. So that's where
I think it's a great summary. No, I think that's perfect. And I think this is going to be something that we watch. There's definitely going to be some legislation, right? There's definitely going to be something that comes in and attempts to, I think, rework this and kind of tool it into something else. And in what direction does that go? I don't know. I think it'll be interesting to kind of follow. So we'll definitely keep our eye open for that.
Yeah, I think the important thing too is that like we could see this in court maybe before we actually see any legislation happen, because I think that the legislation is going to be like a long process. And so yeah, so if somebody gets upset about this enough, like it could go quick. So we may get a precedent set on this sooner than we would see legislation.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. Just like he is himself a force of nature. Chad is bringing us a story about possible signs of the fifth force of nature. And some of you were saying, I didn't know there was five. It's fine. You were like, I know gravity, and I thought that was it. It's okay. Prepare for your education here with Chad.
The UK Science and Technology Facilities Council, or STFC, and it's really unfortunate that the name wasn't Science and Technology Facilities Understanding, or STFU, but that's neither here nor there, has recently discovered evidence of an additional fifth force of nature, that is to the current four, which are gravity, electromagnetism, the strong force, and the weak force. That's correct, strong force and weak force. They discovered this new particle while they were studying subatomic particles called muons. These are smaller components of subatomic particles that might help scientists one day solve the bigger puzzles they are working on for our universe. Now, that being said, you might be saying, hey, Chad, I think I've heard of this. And you would be right. That was in a movie, Ant-Man. But, this is real life. And Paul Rudd doesn't control ants in this story, nor will he be enlarging himself to the size of a skyscraper. But some very interesting concepts that this story might bring about. And back to you guys.
I got excited. I thought we had Paul Rudd on the show.
Yeah, I thought that we were just going to cut into that and Paul Rudd is just going to be here, make some funny joke about being Ant-Man and just ride off into the sunset. But here we are. You're stuck.
You're stuck with us instead. So here we go. Yeah, I think this is cool. This is interesting, and this could be. We've heard a lot about dark matter as kind of a potential explanation for a lot of the calculations being off on the expansion of the universe and so on and so forth. So from what I understand, this is maybe a new approach, a new way to say, okay, maybe this is an explanation that there's another force that works at such a small level that but like anything, right? It affects things exponentially in large ways based on mass and things like that. So, I think it's. But I'm glad everybody got an education as well, right? They were like, oh, there's literally something called the strong force and another one called the weak force. That sounds made up, kind of like our space force, but it's not.
Yeah, when I did chuckle a little bit to myself because I did not know that that's what those two forces were called. And so I was like, really, guys, we couldn't come up with a better.
Yeah, they were just drunk the night before and they were like, you know what? Let's phone it in. Here we go.
Yeah, no, I agree with you though. I think this is really neat. I think that it's really cool that we're still pushing that envelope and finding new things about the way that the world works, the way that the universe works. I just find it generally cool that we have all of this knowledge, but we're still figuring out new things.
Yeah, this is how we're going to find the aliens, Neil.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, along the lines of an alien, I guess he's more of a robot, but Google and Oracle over the last decade have been having a very fun fight in the courts about free use of APIs. And here's Aaron with some more info on that ruling.
This past week, the nation's highest court held that Google's copying of Oracle's Java API was fair use by a 6-2 vote. This coming after a decade of lawsuits between Oracle and Google. The Supreme Court did not provide any guidance on whether APIs can be copyrighted. Instead, the court ruled that even if APIs can be copyrighted, Google's copying was protected by fair use law in existence already. During the proceedings, Justice Breyer often compared the Java API to the original QWERTY keyboard, saying you didn't have to have a QWERTY keyboard on typewriters in the beginning. But my God, if you let somebody have a copyright on that now, they would control all typewriters, which really has nothing to do with copyright. Many see this ruling as a win for interoperability and compatibility between technologies for the present and a good foundation for technology creation in the future. What do you nerds think?
I think I'm impressed with Neil's editing. Like that was nice. I mean, anytime you can fit a Buzz Lightyear, slide in, like that's a win in my books.
Yeah, I've got SpongeBob and Buzz Lightyear in one show. I mean, I'm kind of crushing it over here.
You are all over the place. Like, you're the Super Smash Brothers melee of cartoon references in a podcast.
That's right.
It doesn't get nerdier than that. So
it really doesn't.
Yeah, no, this is very, very cool. I think everybody kind of felt like this is what it should be, but then, man, when they last went at it in the appellate court, like it honestly did look good. Like it was like there were some tough questions being asked, and some people were going, man, I think they might have botched this. And so I think, coming back at round two, I'm glad things are kind of turning the way they are.
Yeah. What's really interesting is that if you read both opinions on this, they kind of like failed into the right decision. Like clearly, like if you read and you know anything about technology, like the justices that were doing this, like really clearly did not understand what was actually being argued in front of them, which is one, very disappointing because how can you make a ruling and set a precedent on those things if you don't understand them? Like, that's a huge problem in and of itself. But I guess I'm happy. Like I am happy that with the ruling, because I think it, like people that like this ruling, it does allow for people to use APIs in a way that allows them to hook into them, use them, and not have to like get charged a licensing fee necessarily for some of these things. So this is a huge win for like you and I in particular, people like us. But I'm glad that even if they did fail into it, they failed into the right thing.
Yeah, I mean, essentially what this does is it says like, hey, if you have a piece of software A that talks to software B, you can create your own that can intercept or at least talk in the same language, right? In the same context as that existing conversation between A and B. You don't have to see your way out, Neil.
Oh, really? I see what you did there, because guess what? C is a programming language as well.
Also,
but many levels.
This is big, right? I mean, so again, it gets to interoperability and stuff that's honestly we've been talking about with electronics. It almost harkens back to, in a way, like the whole Nintendo cartridge debacle, right? Like, can you lock that down? And it turns out you could, but now you can't, and it's like this whole thing. So I think we're swinging in the right direction. But man, I appreciate your assessment. I think what is it when you do the right thing for the wrong reasons? Yeah. But hey, we're there. So
right. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. Well, another guy who really enjoys doing the wrong things for the wrong reasons. That's not at all what I said, but that's Chad, bringing us some information about the ramp up of 5G, specifically with T-Mobile.
Last week, T-Mobile announced finally they have 5G home internet. They have turned it into a reality. Now, granted, it's only available in 30 million homes are even eligible to receive it for $60 a month, and they are claiming that customers will experience speeds up to 100 megabytes per second. Now, they have already released a caveat to follow up to that some home internet customers will experience less than those speeds during peak network traffic times. So basically, in conclusion, T-Mobile announced that 5G internet is now available in some limited places, and if you get it, you may or may not even experience those speeds. Now, where can I think I've heard that pitch before? Oh, wait, yeah, that's right. Every internet service provider in this country claiming for every single internet package they sell. And in conclusion, back to you guys.
He's not wrong.
Oh, no, not at all. Like, T-Mobile's doing everything that all of the other internet service providers do as well. So, like, I don't see a problem with it. Like, I know I have gig internet speed. I know that I don't get gig all of the time, if ever. It says up to for a reason. But I do think this is cool. It gives people more options. And it does kind of fight with Elon's Starlink a little bit too. It's the same kind of thought process here. So I believe that they'll roll this out even more homes quickly. It's just, where do they have enough coverage to be able to do this? And where do we have enough bandwidth, right? So I expect to hear more rollouts of this very soon for T-Mobile. And I really like this. I like more players in the field because it helps prices for everybody. So
yeah, I think that's a great call. Yeah, I mean, every time I see like something from AT&T on TV, it's always a little fine print that says, I mean, not even like that they might. It says that they will. They are going to slow down your speeds at peak times, and you know, I think that's just the reality of kind of where we're at. Do I think we'll probably head, you know, to bigger, better things? I mean, and we will. But yeah, it's just kind of the reality of things. So not a big deal, but definitely something to keep, you know, when they're hyping this 5G thing as like the savior of the internet, you just got to kind of keep some of the stuff in mind.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, so with that, that's all we have for today. So thank you for joining us on this edition of Tech Talk Tuesday.
You're welcome, Neil.
Oh, thank you so much, Matt.
Yeah.
Although I did kind of enjoy not having to look at your face when I had to do solo a couple weeks ago. So
that is hurtful and true.
But yes, thank you for joining us. If you want to read up on anything that Matt and I talked about today, or Chad and Aaron briefed us on, you can find that in the description below. And while you're there, go ahead and give us a follow and a like, or that way you don't miss any future editions of Tech Talk Tuesday, and we can spread our reach so more people can watch us. But yeah, if you want to have your question answered live on the show, you can hit either Matt or I up on Twitter. Our Twitter handles are @TheMattRay for Matt, because again, there is only one of him. And mine is @NeilTardy, because again, I am basic as heck. But yes, thank you for joining us. We hope to see you next week at 7 p.m. Eastern. And with that, we'll see you next Tuesday.